Hello, how's everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I guess people want me to talk about Peacemaker season 2. Didn't watch it. But with the little clips that I've seen here and there, it's not hard to put shit together. I'm trying to figure out how this is supposed to be inspirational. So this is your new DCU. This is what you prefer over the DCEU. Okay. Okay. All right. um, so you know how some of y'all like to try to say how it doesn't matter in the end. You're right. It doesn't matter. Y'all can have this. You can have Warner Brothers, you can have Marvel, you can have Star Wars, you can have all of this. What I see is degenerate slop. And it's no point. It is no point of fighting this anymore. Um, you know, at this point, most of us talked with our wallets. We already showed you that we're not watching this slop anyway. Um, the fact that the Superman movie flopped at the box office, no matter how much anybody tried to be like, oh, it didn't do well. You don't spend damn near close to $400 million on a movie budget and then only make back barely $600 million, and it didn't even get to 600 million, so it only got to 560. So that's still bad. Um, that's terrible. Then the merchandise not selling. Then you have Peacemaker season 2 coming out. The degenerate slop that shit is the red band trailer. Why is there a red band trailer for this shit? Right when it's supposed to be a follow up to Superman. Now, remember, isn't Superman supposed to be PG-13? So that means kids can watch it, right? Which means that if kids were heavily invested in the Superman movie and Peacemaker is the next installment, how are kids going to watch it? You know what I'm saying? Then some of y'all say, "Oh, it's the parents. It's the parents' fault if they watch it, or it's up to the parents if they watch it or not." No, it's up to the at this point. Why would you release degenerate slop? You get what I'm saying? So we're falling down the same path that Marvel is, right? So what I'm hearing is that it's okay to bastardize these DC Marvel heroes, right? And make them the butt of the jokes, have sexual nature going on. And I don't really, I'm not really a crude person, but what I'm saying is y'all can't be serious that this is supposed to be more entertaining than the DCEU while also the stocks are falling from Warner Brothers. Hmm. Huh. Then the retcon one, which is just dumb. It is dumb no matter how much you want to do it. Or then like, oh, he woke up and now he's in this multiverse, this other version of the DC universe where he was a hero, he had a daughter, he didn't have any daddy issues. All that. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? It's dumb. It's dumb no matter how you slice it and dice it. And I know there are gonna be some people who like it. That's great. You like it, like degeneracy, but what I'm seeing is nobody's taking the brand serious anymore, and they're making the complete joke. But that's okay. There's two things that came out that had something to do with demons, and there's a girl version and a guy of it. So we have K-pop Demon Slayers, which got released in certain theaters around the world, sold out everywhere. Remember, this movie's on Netflix. This movie's on Netflix for you to watch, and yet people actually went to the theater to go and watch K-pop Demon Slayer. Sony was too stupid enough to put it in the theaters in the first place. Oh yeah, that's another topic for another day. No, matter of fact, we can talk about that too, as long with the Peacemaker thing. No. That's another video for another thing. Okay, so this is a girl group who kills demons while singing. Demon Slayer, the Infinity Castle arc part 1 has started. Um, Beautiful animated movie, um, action, death, beautiful music going on, and again, two franchises, a Korean franchise and a Japanese franchise. and is doing better with audience globally than Superman and Peacemaker. And I don't care what any of y'all say. Y'all can try to pretend like, oh, Peacemaker is doing. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not doing well with the audience. But maybe in America it is, because America then became so degenerate. We don't really allowed our values to slip. The fact that y'all think that this is appropriate for Peacemaker, and it's kind of sad because this is a Silver Age character from the Charleston comics who was very Captain America like, respected his country. Yes, he did things extreme, but in the name of justice. And when I'm not saying that he did it like, oh my god, crazy stuff, but he was a little bit more of a authoritative Captain America. And he got the job done. That's what he was called Peacemaker for. But to see John Cena make this character a sexual joke just because James Gunn has some pedo stuff, like the same degenerate crap that James Gunn got fired from Disney is in Peacemaker. And that's, to me, that's weird. And I feel like that's kind of crazy that a lot of you guys, I ain't even no point even getting angry at this point, but I'm gonna take a sip of this. Because I'm kind of confused. Like, how is a lead up to Dark Side terrible, and the weirdos in America don't want that? You want no plan, goofy, wacky, silly things that happen to Superman, goofy, wacky things happen to the Peacemaker, but because it's lighthearted and it has a little bit of jokes and manipulated emotional beats, that's great. I'm sorry. What the hell am I supposed to be doing with this? Like, what, you want me to raise my voice, get angry? What is that going to do? Nothing at all. The DCEU is dead. You want that? Congratulations, you have it. You won. You won. You know what I'm saying? Like Sharpay from High School Musical. You're just I won. What's the prize? Warner Brothers, you can have it. It's already in a ditch. It is already in a ditch. So for everybody who was like, ha 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 ha, the Snyderverse will never come back or whatever, great. At this point, with the people that's running, I wouldn't want him to come back anyway. I wouldn't want him to come back anyway. And it's kind of funny because there's a Variety article talking about Disney needs to get the men back. Hell, Warner Brothers need to get the men back as well. Especially the comic book geek fandom. They have literally purposely split the fandom in half. And it's crazy that people are really trying to sit up here and root for degenerate bullshit, but also trying to bastardize the stuff that Disney done, which Disney has earned that bastardization. But this right here, this is some sick degenerate shit we're seeing in Peacemaker, and y'all are trying to sit up here and literally say because the character is well known or whatever, it's allowed. No, that's not how the fuck that shit works. You can't pick and choose when it's allowed to break a character like that. I mean, we've seen Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman broken, different versions of them, right? But they're still the core of their characters. You can get mad all you want to. Yes, Zack Snyder true to the character's core, their core of their who they are. He just made them go through problems. Like, I don't know what makes you think that you're not supposed to have a hero that goes through a hero's journey. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. But because it wasn't lighthearted and friendly enough for your asses, that was a problem. But y'all claiming that y'all love the DCAU. What did you think Batman did in the DCAU? You think it was just lighthearted nature's affairs? No. Just because the backdrop of Superman the animated series was colorful, those stories were mature. Those stories were mature. You didn't see Superman act like, David Cornsweat Superman. You didn't see him have a stupid ass speech like that. And to Lex Luthor, when he confronted Lex Luthor, it was firm, stoic. It wasn't this emotional wreck about I'm just as human as anyone else. I put my shoes on just like everyone else, and no matter how much as I try, I still make mistakes. Like, I'm sorry, who the fuck? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Wrap this shit up. This ain't Superman. This ain't Clark Kent. I don't know who that was. Like I've always told you, I said That could have been Connor Kent. That would have made so much sense. Which I think a Connor Kent Superboy movie would have been actually more interesting. So then, when all of this stuff happened in that movie, it would have made sense because it's true to Kent. And it's kind of funny that people are trying to tell me no, it's not. How would you know? A lot of y'all don't even read the comic books. It's always funny. It's the same thing when people was criticizing Netflix's Sandman, and we were saying, hey, that's not true to the characters or whatever. And then Neil Gaiman to tell us how we were wrong, but it's like, bitch, you wrote it, and we can see the pictures and images of the stuff. It's right here in our face. Y'all designed these characters. You can't tell me all of a sudden it's wrong. It's the same thing again with the Percy Jackson Arthur, who was trying to tell everybody how wrong we were about the Disney Channel when Disney made all those changes to Percy and Lightning Thief. Oh, okay, great. But guess what? Just because it got renewed for another season, who's really talking about it? I'll wait because it's another show that didn't chart any Nielsen, just like Peacemaker didn't chart anything. Just because a lot of y'all online are saying that it's good doesn't mean anything. Money talks, it walks. I'm sorry. It's the same thing as like y'all trying to get mad at Avatar, Michael Bay's Transformer, and Zack Snyder's DCEU. But these three things made money. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. The audience showed up. You can't show up for something that you hate. You get what I'm saying? How come every like Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman, the Suicide Squad, Justice League, even the messed up version of Justice League, and Aquaman, the audience kept coming. You don't have more audience keep coming if it was terrible. But then when we get to Shazam and after, it's dropped. Oh, but those movies are good because they were lighthearted affairs. Okay, lighthearted affairs, but didn't make money at the box office. But the critics and some fans on site said it was great. Okay, and could we sell merchandise? No, no, we're not selling. We're not selling merchandise. We're not selling Blu-rays. We're not charting any services. Oh, okay. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like the same thing. Like right now, Crackle Barrel just set up there and changed their entire look and knocked off almost over $200 million stock. But the CEO over here talking about, oh, but we're getting so many people saying how amazing it is. So your stocks dropped, but people are telling you that it's amazing. And that's the same thing I'm hearing with Warner Brothers and Oh, Peacemaker is amazing. This is so cool. This is way better than DCEU Zack Snyder stuff. But the stocks are dropping. The merchandise isn't selling. Nobody's buying DC comic books. Like, if the line is negative red, how is that good? Then the other movies that they have in Warner Brothers After Success is being dragged down because the DC stuff is failing. They put all of that money, and I was telling people, it's the same thing as like with the Jim Lee and Jeff Lowe with Hush 2. You cannot do stupid shit when you rebooted your continuity. You can't do a sequel to Hush when you rebooted the continuity because you can't use that same story because that story is in another because you have already rebooted and you have made several changes. You think about all the changes to the entire DC universe before you did the sequel because nobody actually sits down. It's the same things like World's Finest by Mark Waid. He has Dick Grayson Robin with Kara Zor-El Supergirl. That doesn't make any sense because in the main continuity, Supergirl did not show up until after Dick Grayson was Nightwing. How is she here? And that's what I'm saying. That Supergirl can't be Supergirl because it will either have to be Linda Danvers Supergirl or have to be Matrix Supergirl. That's what I'm saying. Like nobody's thinking about this stuff. Nobody ever sits down and think about continuity or whatever. Everybody always trying to be like, oh, it's okay. There's a reason why the Dragon Ball fandom is divided right now because you are literally ignoring continuity. You get what I'm saying? Once you start ignoring continuity and you start doing whatever the fuck you want to, people start saying no. When you start bastardizing these characters, and we're talking about bastardizing them to where you're disrespecting them. Trying to say that, oh, well, there's always been different interpretations of characters before in media, especially when it comes to comic book characters. But this stuff in particular, what James Gunn is doing, has bastardized the characters. Don't nobody want to see goofy, wacky Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't nobody want to see goofy, wacky, silly Superman. Don't nobody want to see goofy, wacky game. And the fact that a lot of y'all ain't upset about that, because there's no such thing in the DC comic book universe called the Justice Game. There's no such thing at all. And on top of that, the Guardians of the Guardians of Oa would not let Guy Gardner be at the whims of another person to do his superhero job. The reason at the ring is because they saw that he had great will potential in him. If anything, they would have stripped that ring from him, if anything, which that's what they probably should have did. Now, if he was wearing that yellow that yellow ring with the blue jacket and the white pants and stuff like that, it was a thing, y'all. It was a thing. Guy Gardner had lost his ring, and he had got another ring. I don't know if it was from fear or whatever, but it was something like a power ring or whatever. That would make sense why he's dressed like that. But just to be having him call himself Green Lantern, and then to be not nowhere close to the Green Lantern origins, or the fact that you got mad at someone to save people on Earth's lives, but then Hawk Girl comes here and fly through, and because it was a dictator, just dropped him. Do you not know how much trouble that would cause in the DC universe? That's the whole point. Zach was trying to show y'all, like there's consequences to every action. But no, it was fun. It's just funny. But they can't be superheroes if she just willy-nilly killing people. And before somebody said, well, Hawk Girl's killed before. So as Superman. But a lot of y'all still like to be like, oh, Superman would never. What he would never what? But this Hawk Girl screeched her ass through and literally picked his ass up and tossed him. You know what I'm saying? Talking about Superman would never. Well, luckily I'm not Superman. No. Look, you're supposed to be a superhero in general. Now, what could have happened? What could have happened is Hawk Girl could have captured him or whatever and stuff like that, and to turn him in or whatever, and then you can have a villain that was hired by Lex Luthor who actually killed him, but because people saw the dictator with Hawk Girl, that could frame her for murder. That could be something interesting. But no, you guys can't think of that kind of shit, because that would be too brilliant, right? That would be challenging the norms. That would be giving her a storyline and something to deal with, that she has to deal with the ramifications of their judging her from something that she didn't do, because she doesn't kill unless she has to, and she would never just willy-nilly kill someone. And that's the thing about a lot of these heroes. They don't kill unless they really have to, unless they're put into a corner. And a lot of times, a lot of y'all be like, well, that's why you don't put them in a corner. No, that's not. But that's not realistic. That's not realistic storytelling. At some point, you're going to have to challenge and understand that sometimes lessons come at losses. You get what I'm saying? Hold on, I gotta take another sip. Yeah. That's the good shit right there. But nobody wants to listen to that kind of stuff. I can blow smoke up y'all asses all day about why this is stupid, but people are going to like it. And that's fine. Like Peacemaker if you want to like it, like the new DCU. But if you're going to get on here and say how accurate it is to the characters, or how much of a fresh breath of air it is, it's crazy, because the same issues that y'all was complaining about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's literally what the DCU is doing. And yet y'all don't see the correlation. And it's kind of funny. It's just like, once again, a lot of folk Paul Superman and Peacemaker fans coming out the woodwork trying to tell me, but I'm just like, but I'm in the trenches. I'm in the trenches reading these characters. You know what I'm saying? None of y'all didn't know what Peacemaker was before James Gunn. You get what I'm saying? And even if like, for instance, even if I wasn't aware of every character, which I'm not aware of every character, you know, it's been a while since I've read the encyclopedia of DC and Marvel, but at least I've retained most of my information. And even if I didn't, guess what I'm going to go and do? You know, there's plenty of websites and places where you can go and actually read. And I'm not just talking about the Wikipedia page. I'm talking about you can literally read the comic books of these characters to get into their heads. So while a lot of y'all are trying to talk about what Superman, what Peacemaker wouldn't do in the show or whatever and stuff like that, and I'm reading it, I'm just like, But this whole wacky team nonsense, like this is supposed to be about a solo character. And once again, it proves that he can't even do that correctly. How many goddamn times are we gonna have to keep going through this stuff? Like, how many times you gonna have to learn this lesson, old man? If you're gonna call a show Peacemaker, I expect the show to be him. And I know somebody's gonna be like, well, Arrow and Supergirl, yes, 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 yes. Over time, they did that shit. But when we first started off, it was about them. And even then, most of the storylines still focus on them. And on top of that, they have characters that have something to do with them. You can go through Arrow, you can go through Flash, you can go through Supergirl, Black Lightning, and you can see where a lot of these characters connect in their actual history and comics. Peacemaker just doing some off the wall bullshit. I think maybe him and Vigilante did team up some while. All that other shit they doing, no, it's dumb. It is dumb, and it's not good. It's not a good look for the characters. And the reason why I have to be adamant about it, because a lot of y'all like to use the movies as a linchpin to the of what they are. So when somebody does something different in a movie and a show, then y'all want to try to, like, for instance, with Superman, it's always Christopher Reeve Superman, even though Christopher Reeve Superman is the most inaccurate version of the character at the time in the first place. That's not what Superman was in the 70s. If you picked up a 1970s book of Superman, no, he really wasn't like that. But that's neither here nor there. And even then, even Christopher Reeves himself said that he had a problem with sequels and doing more Superman stuff, because it just seems like the studio gets more bigger. They get bigger with the budget, but then they get stupid with the plot and the stories or whatever, or then they make a lot of unnecessary changes. And he was right. I mean, look at Superman 3, 4, and then look at the spinoff Supergirl. Are we serious right now? Then we try to go back to that same bullshit with Superman Returns, and then a lot of y'all say hell no to that. Y'all rejected that. Then when the MCU came out, which a lot of y'all don't remember, a lot of y'all was enjoying it, and then Disney got their hands into it, right? And then once Disney got their hands into it, it started becoming just a tad bit more lighthearted, jokey every other second, right? Y'all was complaining about, oh, it's too the MCU is family friendly, a little bit too family friendly. And then Warner Brothers like, great. Well, here's the Dark Knight trilogy. It's serious, it's grounded, and y'all are like, yeah, this is what we need. We need more serious, grounded superheroes. And Warner Brothers listened, and that's how we got Man of Steel, right? Then all of a sudden, y'all complain about, Man of Steel isn't lighthearted like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What? What? So then Warner Brothers panicked, and instead of letting that Superman grow before they did more movies, they said put Batman in it, because we just finished a trilogy with Batman, and those two Batman movies made $1 billion. And then not only did they get their wish with that one, then they said let's also make the Suicide Squad too. Okay, cool, great, because we're trying to hurry up. We're trying to get the Justice League, right? In all three movies, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League was sabotaged by the studio, and yet none of y'all want to hear that. Y'all want to keep blaming Zack Snyder on Ayer for that mess, even though Zack Snyder was fired when his daughter herself during the production of Justice League. So instead of delaying Justice League, which that's what I would have did if I was Warner Brothers, I would have delayed Justice League, and we would have did another movie instead that would have led League, maybe, which would have been a perfect time to do the Batman movie, if you ask me. That's what I would have did. But why that was happening, y'all said no, fuck Zack Snyder, we're going to do Josh Whedon, because Josh Whedon had a good job with Avengers. Okay, great, without understanding that Josh Whedon didn't do the other movies that led up to that. You get what I'm saying? And on top of that, it wasn't even Disney that helped out with that. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying? You see how there's so much complexities in all of this that y'all not understanding, and then because everybody likes Guardians of the Galaxy, yes, because it's a team that not, a lot of y'all didn't know, but people who read the comic books know about the Guardians of the Galaxy, and to see them bastardized like that was a little disheartening. The first one wasn't bad, but I was thinking like, okay, it's the start of the team. Maybe, once we get to the second and once we start them throughout the MCU, it'll get better. It didn't get better. The team got stupider and stupider as each movie, each appearance got. And then the love thing with Star Lord and Gamora, which was weird because Gamora is actually supposed to be in a relationship with the fact that Adam Warlock wasn't even in the Infinity Saga. Don't even get me started with that bull crap. The constant jokes, the constant belittling of Star Lord, which was weird. The fact that Groot just only said Groot, like I am Groot, and it's just like, okay, but isn't Groot a little bit more intelligent? Because if any of you guys know, during that time we also had Avengers Assemble before we had, I mean, not Avengers Assemble, but Avengers Heroes, and we had a two-part Guardians of the Galaxy, because what was going to happen is we was going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy team show in the world of Earth Mightiest Avengers, but they didn't. They didn't. Instead, they did in the world of Avengers Assemble, which is like the bland MCU version of the team. And then we got Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's based on the team. I mean, it's based on the version of James Gunn's team, which people didn't really care for. And then you did several video games based on that version of the team. And even though the third game was really cool, the fact that a lot of people did not care because of Marvel's, and the fact that a lot of people do not like that version of the team. I don't know what to fucking tell you. It's completely dumb. You can't get mad that people don't like that version of the team. The team is supposed to be a serious enforcer throughout the galaxy. They're supposed to be a respectable team, and instead you make them the jokes. You make them jokes. You didn't understand the complexity of characters at all, and I'm supposed to accept that you understand Peacemaker because of a few people who liked it, because there are too many people who are too lazy to even read these characters. Y'all won't even go out to the comic books and read them or buy the comic books to even at least get something on your argument. And then if y'all do get new shit to prove, like I remember John Ramos and a few other people, where they were trying to prove that, oh look, I read comic books, and all the damn comic books was fucking brand new before was after 2011. You got books from 2011, like 2011 and now. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Because first off, during that time, that's when both Marvel did a soft reboot. I mean, a soft relaunch of their universe, and DC completely rebooted their universe to the New 52. So, are you really going to try to give me that? I want to see comic books from the 90s, the 2000s. God, I wish I had all the access to my other comic books that y'all can see, because some of them things look probably terrible right now. But I got those books when I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying? And the art was pretty epic or whatever, or wacky, silly. Some of it was wacky, silly, and stuff like that. Especially the Cassandra Cain Batgirl run. The artists on that used to be on some bull crap, but the action used to be really cool, and it was really cool to follow a character who couldn't speak, but but the story was so interesting because of it. But again, off the subject. But my thing is, what am I supposed to? How's this Peacemaker supposed to be a good linchpin? Because if I was executives, I'd be like, what slop is this? And I know I heard some executives talking about they're already tired of James Gunn because he's always online or whatever. But my thing is, there was a reason why Disney fired him and nobody wanted to have anything to do with him. He was out, and then because his bootlegged lick cast begged for him back, which is funny. They brought back James Gunn, a person who been accused of a lot of things that they try to sweep under the rug and degenerate behavior. That's fine, but DeMayo, again, that's another topic for another day. Get rid of Zack Snyder, but the cast that worked with Zack Snyder loves Zack Snyder, talks about how amazing he is as a person, and yet DC and Warner Brothers would not bring that man back. How does that work? How does that work? can somebody who does degenerate stuff got fired because he got called out and caught with his tweets and stuff like that, and that's it's swept under the rug. Like people just seem to forgot about the reason why he had got fired in the first place. And talking about, oh, and James Gunn, we trust. You trust the pedo? No, okay, all right. But it's a man who's never done anything, but because he challenges your thought process, he's a bad person. Huh, huh, huh. But James Gunn has Superman act like a little bitch, and he has John Cena. Remember, John Cena is about almost 50 years old. In his time, he's shaking his ass. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That degenerate shit should. That's way more important. That's way more important, right? Where you got Crypto, the Superdog, jumping on Superman while he's injured. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's yes. That's exactly what I want. Compared to Superman fighting Doomsday, fighting to protect his mom, fighting to protect Lois Lane, sacrificing himself for the world because somebody has to take out Doomsday. Convincing Wonder Woman and Batman to create the Justice League so they can fight against Darkseid. No, that's degenerate. That's terrible. I guess I'm in a wacky world, but that's okay. You can have it. Have at all of this. If you truly y'all truly want this shit, have it. Congratulations. You won. You won. You won. You won. You won. Congratulations. I am so excited that you guys finally get the DC universe that you guys always wanted. Um, so don't mind me and others if we don't show up to the movie theater. Don't mind me if the sales aren't. Don't mind me while I'll be over in Japan. Not over in Japan, but I'll go over virtually to Japan and South Korea and enjoy their movies and shows and stuff like that because more interesting anyway. You know, between Disney pushing out the men, between Warner Brothers dividing the fandom and calling the fandom who likes the at prior cultists, you know, and then changing up the comic book characters to reflect things that a lot of us didn't ask for. You know, y'all can have it. Y'all can have all of this. At this point, I think we need to just go ahead. I just think I need to just go ahead and just be anime and manga from now on. And I used to be so obsessed. I mean, I used to be so obsessed with anime and manga that I did neglect comics for a while. You know, DC and Marvel, I did neglect them for a long time. And to see this degeneracy happen at this point, I can see that I made the wrong choice to get back into this shit. I see that now. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everybody.